Hey guys, welcome back to Garage Theory once again. So if you've been keeping up with the 2J build, got the pistons in, the cranks in, the bearings in, all that good stuff, and I decked the cylinder head. So today's video is going to be about removing and cleaning, which I already started. I always start, I don't know why I do that. I always start cleaning before I record, and I always like kick myself for not recording the content. So all these valves were all dirty, but I mean they still have to be cleaned, so I'm gonna clean that again. But I cleaned the chambers, the valve chambers, with the Behrman carb cleaner. So this video is going to be removing all this. I got I took one out just to see how hard they're able to come out. So I got one of these things, spring compressors, and I'm going to use that tool to remove it. There's the keepers. This is a old valve seal. Got a bunch of new ones here. This is the retainer, spring retainer that goes on top. So I'm going to keep all this in order because I don't know if these things are directional. I don't think they are, but since I don't know, I'm putting these yellow dots with a little marker to keep so I know which one is, well, which way faces up. And I'm going to keep all this in order. And I'm also going to lap the valves with the lapping tool and some polish, or some, I think it's polish or grinder, some kind of compound, valve grinding compound, this thing, so they seat up nicely again. But yeah, let me get my table set up. I'm going to work over here this time. So you notice that I got my coffee. I got this little ThinkPad box. So I'm gonna put all the valves on here so they go back in the same exact location, and I don't get confused where what goes. Alright, so let me get set up. Alright guys, so here is my setup, more like my work table. So here is the little cardboard box that I have. It's going to be the front of the motor, intake and exhaust, in and out. And I punched a bunch of holes for the valves to be organized and kept. And also I put this masking tape, and I put the sticky side up, so when I put these keepers, you know, they stick to it, so I don't end up dropping them or, you know, losing them. So I did that as well, you know, the intake and exhaust side. So when I do take these things all apart, I could organize them and keep them all in the exact place. And yeah, so now you notice I took number one out, or this is intake side. Sorry, I was thinking there, but yeah, this is the intake side. I'm gonna lap these right in there for the seat. Let me see if you guys can see. So right in there, focus, right here, this is where the valve seats on here, and it has to be 100% seal. If not, you're gonna have a lot of blow by, low compression, you know, the whole 9 yards. So that's what this grinding compound will do. I'll put the valve on there with this little plunger tool, like so, and then that's gonna stick, and I'm gonna put it in there, and I'm gonna rotate this around as that's grinding that surface off just a tad, so the mating surface is nice and smooth and 100% sealed. I am gonna modify this because I am not gonna do this by hand, and that's what this drill's for. And I'm probably gonna use the drill to clean the valves onto the parts, like just sand this stuff down slightly with like Scotch-Brite. You can tell this stuff is still dirty, so I still have to try to work all that stuff off. But yeah, that's what we're doing, and let me see what kind of progress I can get. Alright, so I am going to remove this valve there. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy actually. I'm just gonna go and take this valve out of this location. So how I do that is I put this side, let's see, I put this side right above the spring seats or spring keeper, and this side I put on the valve end. So what I do is I line it up, and I find easier to, instead of doing this, closing the tool up and having this side compress, it's easier just to press this down all the way and adjust this and have the spring compress, instead of trying to compress the spring by clamping down on this section. So I just unwind this all the way down, open up the tool so it has enough stroke on there, put it on the valve that you want to remove, line up this half, and go on the other end and make sure that it's on the valve. Okay, so that's centered of the valve, and it's centered on the keeper. So all you gotta do is just spin it. Let me see if I can get you a better view. There you go. So it's nice and square. So all you gotta do is, here we go. If I get it to focus. So that's the setup, like so. On the bottom end, I got it on the valve, and all I do is spin this. As that's spinning, you could see the spring start to compress, and you see the keeper inside there open up. So all you need to do is just open it up enough to get these things off. You see that? And I got a magnet. Let me go grab it. Wherever I put it. Oh, here it is. So I got this magnet, and all I gotta do is just get it right on there and pick it up with the magnet. And there you are. That's how you remove the retainers. And now all you gotta do is back it back off. Just back it off. Get all the tension off that. Okay, and once you back it off, you gotta be kind of careful, because once I remove the tension off this, that valve may just drop through, and I don't want it to fall on the floor. So let me put the camera back up. Take the tension off. Keep my hand on the bottom. And there's the spring, as well as the retainer. And the valve, all you do is just push it through. And there you go. The valve is off. And you can see inside there, you can see the valve seals right here. These are the valve seals. So this one's off, you tell, and this one's still on there. So I'm going to replace those. I'm going to remove all these first, then reseat all the valves, or the valve seals, and then finish rebuilding. So that's the process. I'm going to go ahead and continue to remove all of this, and I don't want to bore you with all that, so enjoy the quick time lapse. Alright guys, so here we are after an hour later. This intake, exhaust, that's how I kept it all together. So this needs to just come right off. There's the keepers. What's crazy about this thing, you really think about it, these keepers hold back all this. If one of those come off, this motor is poof, it's gone. Those little parts right there, things that hold up a motor and keep it running. That's pretty insane. So, that's Joe. He said he's on his way. So yeah, now we're just gonna remove the seals, valve seals in there. I don't really know a best way to remove them besides just kind of grab them with some pliers or something. Try not to scuff the walls and all that bad stuff there. But yeah, that took about an hour to remove all that. On the back side, or the chamber side, you can see all that carb buildup right there. See, like this stuff right here. This prevents it from seating real well and can cause low compression. So all that's got to get cleaned up. This is the intake, that's the exhaust. You can tell it's really dirty. But yeah, like all these high build stuff, like right here, all the crud is, your valve has to seat, you know what I mean? And all that carbon buildup is for preventing that from happening. Look at that, that's why that one's pretty bad. That's number one. Actually, that's number two. That's number one cylinder. I'm surprised this thing was actually holding enough compression, I guess. But that stuff is cakey and it's really hard. So that's what comes in play, is this Chem Drip Behrman carb cleaner. I'm gonna keep all those in order. I gotta find a little tray and I'm gonna let it soak so I can clean them up a lot easier. So that's my next step. Let's get that stuff cleaned, and then I'm going to clean the head and then remove all those seals first, actually, since I'm right here. Alright, here we go. Alright, so I'm trying to remove all these valves because I took that one off. So what I found out, all you got to do is just get some needle nose pliers and go ahead and grab it. Try not to scratch the housing like what I just did. Trying to do this with kind of one-handed. So I just kind of hold it in place. Just kind of wiggle it out like so. As you're pulling, it should just come right off. There it goes. That's a valve seal. So I got to do that for all of them. Here's another one. I'll see if I could get that as well. Just kind of work it back and forth. It comes right off. So yep, I'm going to do that for all 24 valves. As you can see, it's pretty clean inside there. But yeah, this head is filthy still. I haven't even pressure washed it or cleaned it. So once I get it all stripped down, I'm going to clean her up. And then go from there. Really, yeah, I forgot I gotta clean that up and then reassemble. Alright, so I'll keep going. I'll remove these seals and stay tuned. Alright guys, so I got the head on this stool with just a rag. I'm gonna go ahead and clean all that gunk and build up from over the years of just use. So I'm using my favorite degreaser, this purple power stuff. I swear by that stuff pretty much takes everything off. It's never failed me once. So you can see here's a little before. Took all the spark plugs out. It's really cakey. That's the front. So I got it on this little sprayer, so I'm just gonna pretty much spray it everywhere, let that soak up in there. Yeah, look at that. Stuff is really oily. I'm gonna go and let that sit for about, 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna go ahead and agitate it with some brushes. Okay guys, so just got done cleaning the head and degreasing and removing all that gunk, but take a look at the results. Super clean. Even the cover that was all caked up in the back, look at that, that's much better. So while I was doing that, I noticed some shims that sat inside there came out on a few. So I guess when they were machining the head, maybe if they went down a little too far, then it would just gap too big. So I noticed that there's some shims in here. So I know there's one in here. Let me see if I could get it out. So what happened was when I was pressure washing it, it came off. And I was like, shit, where does this go? You know what I mean? So you can see this guy right here. It kind of like, it spins on there. Well, anyways, there's shims. Those shims are 20 thou thickness. So I was like, crap, where does these things go? You know, I wanted to make sure that I'm not just putting them in random places. So the tolerance, well, not tolerance, but the measurement on this head is supposed to be a 0.100, 100 thou. So I did that. I measured all the way across using a caliper, and so what I did was I took the lower surface. It's hard to see. Let me see if I could adjust this. So this surface right here, I don't know if you guys could see that. This surface, and I measured to this surface. So from here to here. So whatever that measurement was, it's supposed to be 100. And I noticed on let's see. So this goes from here in that order. So that was 100, and then this was 120. So I was like, sweet. So I put the 20 thou shim in there, and back to 100. And all this was all 100, and then this one down here, the third one from the end, was 120 again. So third one from the end, this guy. So I put that 20 thou shim, and all across it came out to 100. So I did that, and in case you do run into that problem, be sure to put that shim, or else you're going to have a lot of lifter slap. It's pretty much like gapping. And I did the same for this side. So yeah, keep that in mind. I didn't know about that. Luckily that I found them on the floor. If not, I would have noticed, and I would have just put it all together, and then later on this thing would have been a really noisy engine. So anyways, that was my little adventure with cleaning this. But now I just blew it off with air. I'm going to install my seals. I have a little tool that I purchased. It's a valve guide tool. So it's a, oh shit, it's a remover. You know what, I totally forgot I had this. So what you do is you figure out the thickness of the opening of the seal, and you find out which corresponding one you need, and all you do is pretty much put it on there. I'll show you, hold on. So this valve seal opening is 5mm. So this is how it assembles. These things come off, you change them to whatever size you need, and you get your valve seal, put it in there just like so, and then you just put it right into where the valve would seat, right in that hole, and you give it a little push, or maybe even tap a little hammer right on there, because that's what they recommend. Let me go get that. So I just use a little hammer. Let's see if I could do this with one hand. Just a little tap. Then remove it. And there you go. So I'm going to do that all the way across. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty simple, ain't it? And then after that, I'm not looking forward to cleaning these guys, but it's got to be done. Alright. So that's it for that. I'm going to end the video right here. This thing's getting a little too long. I'll pick this up probably tomorrow or sometime this week. But for now, thanks for watching. Next video will be getting these things cleaned and installing them and seating them to each location. And that should definitely complete the head after all that. Put the cams on, put the caps, all that. I'll show you how to install that with the torque, all the proper torque settings, the cam gears. There's actually a lot. I just noticed that right now as I'm talking. And then I got to figure out what I'm going to do with my intake and exhaust. I'm not going to run the factory one. I'm going top mount exhaust, and this is a G, so the intake manifold comes across the valve cover. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get a side mount. So yeah, man, appreciate you guys watching. This is getting exciting. The closer I get to finishing this, the sooner I get to put it in my expensive work table. Yeah, see you guys.